Yeah. All right, we are now recording. So basically, you were going into. I'm going to start sending the invitation here in about 5 minutes, but you were going into the Inquisition itself. So
Right.
tell us a little bit more about that, for anybody that really doesn't know anything about the Inquisition.
So a lot of times you hear about the Spanish and Portuguese Inquisition,
Right.
and the way that they tell it in American history was, yes, it was an Inquisition, and it was religious persecution in the Inquisition. But what they don't tell you is that they were persecuting the Jews that had fled Jerusalem in 70 AD in these Inquisitions.
And that's what a lot of people miss.
They miss, they miss, well, it's not miss, it's not told properly.
Right.
So if you look at an inquisitor's uniform, it is the exact uniform that the Ku Klux Klan used here in the United States. So
Right.
if you wonder
Wow.
where this came from, if you wonder where this came from, that's where it comes from. They didn't come
Right.
out of nowhere. The Ku Klux Klan didn't come up and say, hey, we're going to have these long robes and pointy hats. Now, what is the difference between the robe that the Ku Klux Klan wears and the Catholic Pope wears? What's the difference? There is
There's really
none,
no difference at all. No.
except for the hat.
I was just gonna say, except for the hat that looks like a
Different
fish.
hat, right. So if you see a police officer or a security guard, you know what they do. So now you're going to look at the same uniform and say, well, that uniform doesn't have anything to do with the other uniform. Yes, they're all law enforcement or security, because that's what the uniform tells you that it
Right.
is.
Right.
So, what I try to do is show similarities and things and show you how these things follow the same pattern throughout history. They
Right.
don't change. It's always there and it's ever present.
That's right. That's right.
You know?
That's
So,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. What's up, Eric? How are you?
Hey, test. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can
we
hear
can hear
you.
you.
All
Okay,
loud
good.
and clear.
The first
Yeah.
time I do the Zoom call.
Oh yeah. Well, welcome. It's a lot of fun, man. It's a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
looking forward.
So um did you want to go a little bit more on that, Barack?
Yeah, so now you get slavery. Now you have the Ku Klux Klan. Now you get to the part where black people possibly could get their 40 acres and a mule. Okay.
Mm,
But they send the Klan in to chase you off of the farms so that you can now no longer grow your food, and they're gonna chase you into the city
mm,
for your survival. And the
right.
city is a trap again, right?
That's
Because
right.
now you went from slave patrols to the sheriff's department. So I'm going to show you the same uniform again. The slave patrol's badge looks exactly like the sheriff's department badge that all the sheriff's departments wear to this day. It's the same badge. The other coincidence is that same badge is a how many pointed star. It's either a 5 or a 6-pointed star. It is a pentagram.
That's right. Yeah.
Esau uses a pentagram.
Right.
So these are
Right.
symbols of oppression. So now we've gone all the way from the Inquisition to the Sheriff's Department. And many of those people are Freemasons.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Freemasonry is a tool to keep these same group of people down, to keep them oppressed and
Oppressed.
suppressed.
That's right.
Okay. So
And these
now I'm going to go
conversations
back.
are really spreading. Go
Right.
ahead.
Right. So now you got black people off of the farms because there's power in owning land and there's power in growing your own food. So I get you off the land and chase you off. And this is a personal experience from my family. My mom's family was chased off of their land in Georgia and into the city by the Klan because my mom refused to get beaten as a 12-year-old child by basically a white man that wasn't of any authority to her, but that authority is still over. So, and you're talking about that this is a continuation. Now they got you in the city. Now they have the cops. Now the cops are patrolling over you. They don't live in your neighborhood, but they patrol your neighborhood. They're not part of your community, but they patrol your community. So people say, "Oh, you're not really oppressed, really?" Because so now they in them getting you out of the country and into the city separated the fathers from the family.
That's right.
Because now you're in the city.
They wanted to break up that family structure. They wanted that family structure to be broken up.
Right. So they make it seem like, well, black people just don't stick together and black people don't want to be married. Well, that's not true. You split up families. The history of the United States and the slavery was the breaking up of families. It was taking the children and snatching them away from the parents. This is the history of it. You can't get around this. But this is what they don't want to teach you in school.
Right.
So now,
you guys heard of the World Economic Forum? What they said? They said by 2030 you will own nothing and you will be happy. Have you guys heard about that?
I've actually I've actually heard about that. Yep. Yeah.
And then you brought up Freemasonry. I looked into that quite a bit. I don't know if you're XJW2, Trevor, but there's that Albert Pike, and he said that they hold it until they get to the 30th to the 33rd degree.
That's right.
The god they worship is Lucifer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's right.
They don't tell the average Freemason that when they're coming up.
That's right. That's right. You have to go up the ranks, and they have to keep testing and make sure that you're part of the checkerboard game.
Right. And you right, exactly. and so this is the same entity that has a constant oppression over really the world, but especially people of color. This is why the judges, this is why you never get justice. Like, we never get justice. People, like, I find it funny, like, people saying, "Oh, well, look, they're doing something Donald Trump." And I was like, yeah, but how's that changing your life? What is it doing for you? Nothing. Me, it's entertainment, because I know what's behind it. It's really just a distraction.
That's right.
Oh, he's indicted. And I'm like, so you're freer because he's indicted? No. Does your bank account change? No. Are you any freer or any richer? No. So why are you letting it affect you?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
But people cheer on a lot of things that have nothing to do with them.
Right.
You guys know
and
who
they
George
don't know
Soros
why.
is?
Go ahead.
You know who George Soros is?
George Soros, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the one behind, and I took a snapshot on Wikipedia because people just didn't believe me, that he was the one that funded the Black Lives Matter movement. And when you look at the statement about what they're actually up to, I'm not talking about the regular people on the street.
I'm following you. I'm following you.
If you look at their mission statement, I don't remember I don't know if it's called a mission statement or whatever, but they're against the nuclear family. They're against the idea of a male father, of a mother being over the kids.
So right. You are so right.
And look who funded it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So if you look at the leaders of the Black Lives Matter movement, they were all lesbian women.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Right? There was no black male that was put in the front of that.
That's right.
So when people said, look at me, and they said, you don't believe in Black Lives Matter? And it's like, no. I said, because it's a facade. It was brought on, and I think that the whole thing is a facade. I mean, from the George Floyd stuff, I think it's a facade. It happened in the middle of COVID and nobody had a mask on.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. Doesn't make any sense. It's a film. It's a production.
Yeah.
And these productions always happen. There's always a false flag. There's always something put up. And you always have to wait for the fallout to see what really has happened. Okay.
Yeah.
And so you're 100% correct in the Black Lives Matter movement. How are you not going to have black males leading the Black Lives Matter movement when we're the most suppressed and oppressed people in the United States, hands down? Because black men don't get help with welfare.
At all.
Black women do,
Yeah.
but black men don't.
And they
And
get
that's
more help
again-
if they don't marry the father of their kids. They get more money to not marry them. And it's
Right.
like, how does no one see that this is geared to make people fail?
Right.
Yeah, and so
Right.
it's called being married to the system. It's a marriage of the system, and so it empowers black women to not want to be with a black man. So now, not only they have kids, don't want to be married, and now a lot of them are lesbians.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And to
but
add
this
on-
is true.
What was that, Trev?
Sorry, I kind of interrupted you, Brock.
No, you're-
mid-sentence.
No, you're
But to
good.
add on to the whole Black Lives Matter type, the push, right? I don't remember the lady's name, but she was trying to push and make a documentary about it. She was looking where the funding was going, and they were funding the LGBTQ community. They were funding the men who want to be women. You remember the whole ordeal about the trans
remember
that were
that.
performing in schools?
hmm
They were funding all of that. And none of the money was going back to the community. It was all
That's
going
right.
to these different
To-
stations. And that adds on to what you said about it being owned by two women.
Yeah.
Right,
Or-
Yeah. And then
But
George
it's
Soros
supportive.
backing it up.
Yes,
right.
it's supporting
Right.
the community, but not the community we want. The community that's being pushed, the evil community of LGBT.